Coming up, we'll talk about where the locals go to celebrate Halloween. We'll be looking at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Coming up next. This is It Is Unplugged, episode number 647 for the week of September 22nd, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts in helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Dreams Unlimited Travel provides true concierge service at no additional charge. When you book your Disney destination with Dreams Unlimited, you'll be paired with one of their amazing agents who will help you plan every aspect of your vacation and give you advice on what to do and what to avoid. This is just part of the service you'll receive when you choose Dreams Unlimited for your next Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Will Perry. Hi. I was trying to throw him a curveball. Therese Ackles. Kathy Whirling. Corey Martin. And back in the production nook, associate producers, Craig Williams and Sean Thompson, with our producer, Dustin West, back in the corner. He's back in the corner right now because he may have to step in for me if I can't finish the show. So he wants to be someplace where he can,
scoot around.
So, all right, we're going to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Now, I realize that, a lot of our audience are Disney fans, and they don't particularly go to Universal, or in some cases like Universal. But one of the best Halloween parties you will ever attend is thrown at Universal, Halloween Horror Nights. This was their 23rd year, was it?
Yep.
23 years of doing this, and they pretty much own this town at Halloween. This is where a lot of locals go. It's very different, obviously, from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. This is about scaring the hell out of you, and they do a really, really good job at it. But I think we're going to run.
We have a video of some of the. It's like an overview of the party itself, and then the scare zones that are out and about in the park. We've got a little video that we're gonna.
So let's do that.
All right.
was back to me faster than I thought.
Yeah, my bad.
All right, thank you for that, Craig. Craig put that together for us, and you kind of get an idea. Those of you watching the video, kind of get an idea for the tone of Halloween Horror Nights. They take all different movies and scary things, and they create these walk-through haunted houses. How many of them were there this year? 7 or 8?
There are 8 houses.
8 houses. And it's, I'm going to be honest. I had mixed feelings about this year's Halloween Horror Nights. I've gone almost every year, and it is amazing, and they do an amazing job. But it's starting to feel like they're recycling ideas. Going through some of the houses, I'm like, okay, I've seen variations on this multiple times over the years past. And I wonder if they're starting to run out of new concepts for this after doing it 23 years. I mean, it was still great and was still worth every penny. But that was one of the things I noticed. Did anybody else feel that way? Like, we've kind of seen this before?
There were a few of the mazes that I thought were definitely used in the past. The one that I disliked was Havoc Derailed. They've kind of done that before.
Yeah.
That's kind of where these prisoners are on a train and the train gets derailed.
The glasses one?
No, that's not the glasses one. This is where everybody, all of the characters in the house they have shaved heads. They shave their heads for this role.
And they're all in cages.
They're all
it's
in
the exact
cages.
same thing over and over again.
Room after room, it's very repetitive. But I think out of all of them, that's the one I disliked the most. There were some definite winners, though. Of
Bald people in cages? That's supposed
prisoners, yeah.
Well, what were they doing? I mean, I didn't go in
Well,
now.
the theme is like you're on a train and then it crashes, so the train is derailed, and so you're kind of walking through it after it's crashed. But it was a train carrying passenger or like prisoners on it,
Right.
I think. So that's why they were in cages. So you just walked by, and then they would jump at you.
A lot of jumping out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that was the thing is I found myself I only made it through 3 houses the night we were there. And I found myself not particularly scared.
Which ones did you go?
We did Havoc. We did the one with the glasses.
Afterlife, Death's Vengeance.
Afterlife.
That one gave me a headache.
And then Cabin in the Woods.
See, I loved Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was great. I've never seen the movie, and one thing about this Halloween Horror Nights, a lot of stuff, like Walking Dead, for example. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. Well, I know about it, but
Right.
I don't get it. So a lot of the theme was revolved around The Walking Dead. There was one house, An American Werewolf in London. I've never seen it. Cabin in the Woods. I've never seen it. Resident Evil. I don't play the game, so you really have to have watched the movies and play the games to see what some of these houses are about. But
I disagree. I think some of them were just outright freakishly scary, whether you've seen it or not. Someone startling you out of the dark in a grotesque, bloody, chopped up looking head or whatever they are. That can be frightening.
Yeah, because I had only seen Cabin in the Woods and then American Werewolf in London. So all the other ones were new to me. I hadn't seen Evil Dead. I hadn't seen Walking Dead. So those were all kind of new. But I
Was it
still
Evil
thought they were
Dead or
great.
Resident Evil?
They had both, actually.
Oh, they had both.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the new version of Evil Dead, not the old one with Sam Raimi and
Yeah, it's
Bruce
not
Campbell.
the classic one. It's the remake that they did.
Right. Well, there was a couple of observations that I made. When we talked about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party last week, I'd mentioned that a couple of cast members kind of took me by surprise with some of the things they were saying where guests could hear them and kind of the attitude of some of the cast members that we were coming across. And I know Craig got a taste of that as well when he was covering the opening of Princess Fairy Tale Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Some really rude cast members. So that's been kind of surprising. And, of course, after I mentioned that, I've heard from a lot of listeners saying they've seen the same thing. They've seen a real decline in the attitude of some of the cast members at Disney, which is certainly concerning. I have to tell you something. I think all the good cast members went to Universal. I'm going to be honest with you. They were first rate. They were first rate. Happy, personable, helpful. These people seem really, really glad to be there.
Why do you think?
I have no idea. Universal's obviously changed something in terms of. Was
this during the party?
I never.
specifically?
Yeah. I never found the cast members at Universal to be bad. but I always considered that the cast members at Disney were a notch above. And I have to say, just comparing Mickey's Not So Scary to Halloween Horror Nights in terms of the cast members, I give it to Halloween Horror Nights,
And
hands down.
absolutely. Something I noticed was, and obviously I'm sure they hire or relocate some cast members at Universal for this event specifically. Beyond just the people that are out scaring you or in the houses, they had a lot of crowd control cast members, a lot of people just standing outside of restaurants, opening doors for you, and every single one of them saying hi. Hope you're having a good
Everybody
time.
was really friendly.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed were the bathrooms. We were talking about the new bathrooms that just opened at the American Adventure, right? Mm-hmm. And I jokingly asked you, were they clean? Because every time I go into a bathroom in a theme park at Disney, it's dirty. Either there's stuff on the floor or there's stuff on the toilet seat. Where there was a time where Disney had people cleaning those all the time, and that seems to have gotten less. Every bathroom I walked into at Universal was immaculate. You could have eaten off the floor. That's how clean it was.
And given the different crowd that Halloween Horror Nights brings, that's surprising.
It is
It's
surprising.
more
What
of
do
a
you
party
mean, Corey?
atmosphere.
I know what you mean.
What's a more party atmosphere?
Yeah.
You got, but that's the other
There's
thing
drinking
too.
going on.
But I'll tell you, I didn't see anybody falling down stupid drunk.
No, except the zombies. That's supposed to
But
everybody
there's not
was
children
having-
at Halloween Horror Nights.
Everybody,
Maybe that's-
everybody was, everybody seemed to be having a good time. But I noticed that. I noticed that the bathrooms were immaculate. And then I had a chance to go eat at Cletus Chicken Shack over in the expanded Simpsons area. And I have to tell you, this was some of the best counter service food I've ever tasted in a theme park.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
It was ridiculously good.
All that Springfield food is really good.
Yeah.
You have to try the taco truck outside.
But
That is the best.
Those of you who have listened to the show for a while would know that in the past, when I talked about Universal, especially where counter service was concerned, that it was awful. Now, I don't know if this is indicative of all the counter service in the park or if it's just here. But I'm going to tell you, the food was amazing, delicious. And the cast members working there, also very friendly, upbeat, everybody smiling.
Well,
It really, it confuses me. Not confuses me, it concerns me that I think a lot of people are starting to see a decline in that over at Disney. And, we talked in the last show about how Universal Comcast is committing $500 million a year for the foreseeable future to expand those parks. And one of the things that they've said is that we don't want to be a side destination anymore. We want to be the reason you come to Orlando. And if you're going to be pumping $500 million a year into it, it could happen. It could happen. I was really pleasantly surprised by just how good the cast members were, the food, the cleanliness. I was stunned. I was stunned. And it bodes well for Universal. They are, I think, the infusion of cash from Comcast and the devotion that Comcast has right now to Universal is really starting to show. It's starting to show in the fiber of the park, not just in terms of we're doing Harry Potter and we're expanding this. And I think Disney needs to be aware of this. One of the things that really angers me about Disney, seeing those dirty bathrooms, but also as a smoker, they never seem to be cleaning out the ashtrays. Used to be those ashtrays were always kept clean. Now you go to a smoking area,
I've noticed that
and they
too.
are overflowing with cigarette butts.
Just walking past one over in Frontierland one time, taking that like the boardwalk towards like Thunder Mountain. There was a smoking area right there. I noticed it was just overflowing.
Yeah, these are some of the things I'm starting to notice. Now, again, I don't think Disney has anything to worry about with Halloween Horror Nights cannibalizing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Two entirely different events. But I think this is indicative of what Universal is starting to do. And I got to tell you, I was really impressed.
Sorry. Just touching on that for a second, that those are two completely different events. I didn't see any children at Universal. Is there an age restriction in the park?
Nope.
It's just nobody.
It's just you
everyone's-
shouldn't bring like someone Ferris or Finley's age to
You
that
don't see
event.
strollers.
Yeah. Okay.
Saw some young ones though. A couple, 5 or 6 year olds.
Well, look, if we're talking about, parents know their kids. Parents know their kids. If you've got an 8 or 9 year old and you know that they really, they like the horror movies and they would really enjoy this. Okay. What drives me insane are the parents that bring their 8 or 9 year old there and these kids are screaming because they're so terrified. Get them out of the park. Get them out of the park. What is the matter
Julie will
with
not
you?
go. There's no way Julie could do this event. They sent a media package, like the media invite, to the house. Julie saw it was from Universal, left it at the front door. She goes, Corey, you have something from Universal. And it was a box, and inside the box was a zombie head.
A dismembered head, yeah.
With blood coming out of it. And, Finley saw it and scared to death. And Julie's scared to death. And now I'll have to put her on eBay for charity. But that's what they do.
Well, I remember one year going through one of the houses, and this guy she couldn't have been 6 years old. His 6-year-old daughter on his back, like piggyback. And she is screaming.
Aww.
Screaming. I don't know what goes through people's heads. This is not for kids.
It's definitely hardcore.
It's hardcore. Now, the way it's laid out, Universal sets up these scare zones, and a lot of what you saw in that video we just played were in these scare zones. So there's certain areas of the park where you're going to find the guys with the chainsaws coming after you and the zombies walking around and things like that. It's not all over the park. It's certain areas. Now, it used to be all over the park, and then I think because people were getting upset that they couldn't get away from it, they created the individual scare zones.
It's about 7 total.
Is it possible to walk through the park without hitting a scare zone, or is it pretty much you?
I was thinking that there are shortcuts, but you're going to run into one.
Yeah.
You're bound to run into one.
But here's the thing: is if you can't handle the scare zones, don't go to Halloween Horror Nights.
I'm just thinking if you go there and you're stuck in the park. I mean, is there a way out if you're too scared?
You'll be stuck. You'll have to turn around. You can't make it around the park without going through
Okay, yeah.
one.
Well, also what people need to understand is that they cannot touch you. They cannot. When these guys jump out at you, they can jump out, but they can't touch you, and you can't touch them either.
Sean got touched.
Yeah, one of the zombie guys touched me. I think it was an accident. I was.
Yeah, it's an accident. They're not allowed to touch
I
you.
had so much fun going through the park with y'all, and also Kylie, because Teresa was scared to death. Kylie's scared to death.
Sean was scared to death.
I was petrified.
I'm just cracking up laughing
Sean
the whole
was
time. It's
clutching
hilarious.
Grace. It was just.
I felt so bad. I thought I was going to break her arms. I was squeezing her so bad.
I was the caboose
You
in the lines.
but
and
yeah,
Craig was in front.
Yeah.
he was in front, and Kylie was like a second back, just glued onto him completely. It was so cute. It was fun.
So tell me about your observations, Teresa.
Well, I love Halloween Horror Nights. I look forward to it. This was the 5th year I've gone, and some of it, I don't find it as scary as I used to. I think because now I'm anticipating. I know when I go around a corner, they're going to be jumping out at me in the houses, but it's still fun. I mean, I screamed through the whole. I think I did. Someone was screaming. That might have been me. I'm not sure. But I only did 3 houses. I did Cabin in the Woods, which was very frightening. I did the one Day Glow house. What was that one called, guys?
Afterlife.
I didn't like that at all. That just gave me a headache because it was all 3D.
It was like a disco. You had
It was disco. It was like disco dead people. I didn't like it.
They depend less on the on people jumping out at you and more on just making you disoriented.
It's really disorienting.
Like the
It was
black
very
lights and the
disorienting.
black
Mirrors and
walls
glass.
and stuff
And the
like
little
that.
glow sticks dangling from the ceiling you had to walk through. That was just kind of, okay, this gave me a headache.
That's the one where Grace stopped in the middle of to tie her shoe, and I freaked. Why do you have to do this
Where
here?
did she go? Where did she
Yeah.
go? But the one I really liked was what one, Sean? The one with the dead children floating
La
in the water.
Llorona. That was my absolute favorite.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was great.
That was awesome. I mean, it was laid out well. It was, it had a good theme. I mean, when you walk in,
It was like this old kind of Mexican legend of this woman who drowned her children, and then I think her husband got angry, and so she drowned herself, but was kind of stuck in the
in the
purgatory.
madness of the whole situation,
Yeah,
and
it was-
you're inside this madness. And there's one room where you go over a creek and you see the two kids laying
Just
face down in the
floating.
water.
Yeah, it was like, run for your life.
There's this part in the beginning where you walk through a church and there's pews on either side of you and women in black veils praying, and you don't know who's a dummy and who's a real one, and they stand up and
That's
get you. And,
great.
Yeah. So I love that. I love the scare zones. I love, of course, Walking Dead. Love me some Walking Dead. So
How
the
did you like
zombies
how they incorporated that with, because all the scare zones are pretty much
are Walking Dead? Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one we went to, which was back in the New York area, I think those were some lame walkers back there. Or I don't know if they were new walkers. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm less as a Walking Dead fan. I'm more concerned like the pieces, the props that they're using, the scenery, like
Right.
the tank and the school bus and all that. Some of the best theming I've seen for something like this.
Well,
Absolutely amazing.
Let there be no doubt. The creative staff, the creative team at Universal, in particular the team that works on Halloween Horror Nights, this is first-rate stuff. These guys really do an unbelievable job creating the atmosphere, the sets, the haunted houses,
Costumes. Oh my
costumes.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's first-rate stuff. This is not chumpy. This is not cheesy. This is not done on the cheap by any stretch of the imagination. And Universal, ever since in particular, since Islands of Adventure opened, you really started seeing that Universal could go toe-to-toe with Disney in terms of design development and things like that. And you see it with Halloween Horror Nights. You certainly see it with Wizarding World of Harry Potter, how amazingly themed that area is. And, it's not Disney's Imagineers doing that. That's Universal.
It's interesting that you mentioned that the zombies or the walkers in the Atlanta, at the Fall of Atlanta area, that's in the New York area, they were slower. Well, that was actually on purpose, because there are different areas and they represent different seasons. Apparently,
different
they're
stages
faster.
of the. Yes, the zombies picked up speed, did they not? As the seasons went on.
Yeah, they said so. Season 1 they were slow, or I'm sorry, season 1 was fast, so that was a certain scare zone, and then as
Yeah.
the seasons got, like season 3, the zombies were really slow. So each scare zone was based on a different season, I think is
Well, I
what.
didn't like the season back in New York. They just didn't. And maybe it's 'cause it was dark when we were back there. I was thinking it was light, but it was dark.
They were really slow and kind of.
But they were just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, dragging a leg behind them.
Yeah, but then when you got over by where'd we eat? The American Graffiti thingy.
Mel's Diet.
Mel's. Yeah, when we got over by Mel's, the walkers over there were very intense.
Oh, the
I
farm?
thought.
Near the
Yes.
farm?
Yeah, they were. I really liked them. We stood there and watched them forever. I mean, it was like being there. What'd you think, Sean? Do you like it?
Do I like what that specific one?
Yeah.
Yeah. The quicker they were, the scarier it was. I liked the one. I don't know if this was Walking Dead or not, but it was like a yard sale. They had all the junk and teepees.
Oh, that was.
Oh, that was the camp.
Yeah, that was the
That
camp.
was camp. Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
cool because it was almost pitch black out there.
Yeah.
Except for like the lights on the actual.
Now the scare zone where they had the tents, was that Walking Dead also?
Yeah, and you could see the reflection inside of someone eating.
Eating.
something.
Yeah. That was kind of.
They were all walking.
Yeah, there were zombie traps, those
Yeah.
little teepees. And
I'm pretty sure the only portion of the scare zones that weren't Walking Dead were the guys with the chainsaws, right?
Yeah, the chainsaw drill team.
Drill
but
team?
No, that's
what they're
exactly
called.
what it
Yeah.
was.
Is that what did they
And-
call it? The drill
Well, they have
team?
this. We saw this woman leading them with a bullhorn, and then at some, so they were kind of like marching through the park, and they get to a certain place, stop, and then just quickly disperse and start going after guests.
It was like a flash mob thing. It's like, okay, what are these guys marching to? What do they walk to? And then all of a
Marching to
sudden,
your death. And you could even smell it. And then the fog would get thick, and you're thinking, "Oh my god!" And then we lost Corey in there, and we couldn't. Did we go back to get Corey? Or, leave him?
he could take care of himself.
No Corey left behind.
And Grace is like, "Leave him." I'm like, "Okay."
Thanks, Grace. But I think the chainsaw drill team. I think it's a nice change because you go through so many of these scare zones, especially this year with the zombies. It's like zombie.
Walker.
It was nice.
Walker.
See, it was nice to have a nice change of pace with the chainsaw. Something about the sound of a chainsaw. I just think
coming out
adds
of the
to it.
fog.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Holy crap!
That's
yeah.
a staple of Horror Nights. I mean, they have to have chainsaws
Right.
somewhere. Like last year, it was the all girls wearing the bright orange jumpsuits,
Yeah.
and they were okay. This, I thought they needed more chainsaws.
They need more.
They need
yeah.
more.
I like them
Oh, yeah.
where they were at this year. One year they were sitting outside one of the restrooms, and I didn't like that because if you had to go,
Well, last year
They were
they
gonna
walked
get
around. Last year was a time whenever they could go anywhere in the park. And so last year you weren't safe anywhere.
We saw them in two spots actually. On Thursday night or Wednesday night they were at outside of Men in Black.
Yeah.
And then when we were there for Friday night, they were at that kind of path.
Well, and they will be roaming, because the one thing I also found out too is like the truck that we saw that dumped off the zombies. Whenever we saw it, it was right out kind of by the Starbucks in New York. But that can apparently go anywhere in the park and dump off new zombies too. So for the most scare zones, they're stuck in the one place where they are, because that's where the sets are. But for those special roaming ones, like the truck dropping off zombies and the chainsaw drill team, those are going to constantly be moving around. You're not going to find them in the same place.
I thought the girl was a little weird on the bullhorn.
Yeah, it was, but it was fun.
It was like Ty Pennington.
She yelled at me, so I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pennington, move that walker.
Now, for those who have not been to Halloween Horror Nights before, I believe all the attractions are open for Halloween Horror Nights, so you can go on rides as well. You're crazy if you do this event without an express pass.
Yes.
Historically, I mean, generally speaking, it is not unusual to see a 90-minute to 2-hour wait to get into a haunted house. Now, you're talking about an event that's 5 hours long. Starts at 7, ends at midnight. So you're going to end up spending an awful lot of time just waiting in line, whereas the Express Pass gets you on, but the Express Pass can only be used once per
Haunted house.
and attraction.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me, it's the way they have those houses set up. A lot of them are in backstage buildings or in these.
Oh, yeah, that's where they have
temporary
to do
buildings. And so when you round the corner and you see that line full of people, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got that express pass.
But this is not a cheap date. Let's be clear about this. A general admission ticket, if you just want to go to Halloween Horror Nights, a general admission ticket for a non-Florida resident is $92. Now, if you already have a ticket to Universal for that day, you can get what they call the Stay and Scream, where you can pay, if it's Sunday through Thursday, it's $39 additional, get you into Halloween Horror Nights. Fridays, it's $54. Saturdays, it's $70, which, it's expensive. It's expensive, but they get it. You can also get frequent fear passes, where for $73, you get
15 nights. Grace got
15
that.
nights.
Yeah.
For $185, you get the 15 nights plus the express pass. So there's a lot of options. Of course, for Florida residents, if you have a UPC code from Coca-Cola, especially marked cans of Coca-Cola, and participating Burger King restaurants, Sunday through Thursday is $43. Fridays, $54. Saturdays are $70. And then you can add express passes onto that. But they have a lot of different packages and tickets that you can get. But this is not a cheap night. But in my opinion, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's very entertaining. Does anybody think, if you had to pay full price, if you had to pay $92 for what you experienced that night, is that worth it to you?
And how much was the express pass on top of that? And just in general.
I have to look.
Yeah, I would have to do the express pass, and then.
But if you couldn't, if you can't afford it, I would just go with. I mean, if it's a make or break deal.
Depending on the dates, the express pass will range anywhere from $50 to $110 per person.
Oh my gosh!
You know what? I think if you pay that $92 and you only get to do 2 or 3 houses, I don't know if that would be such a good deal. I think it's worth it. I mean,
and you need
as
to
long
make
as you
sure
don't go
that you're
into
doing-
it thinking you're going to do everything.
That's where I think the frequent fear comes in. If you're going to be in town a few days, it would pay to get that.
Split it up over a couple
Split
nights.
it up over
Yeah.
a couple nights. That's what Grace is doing. She's finally, after 3 or 4 nights that she's already been, she's already seen everything at this point.
Yeah, some houses are better than others, and if you end up seeing the throw, in my opinion, the 3 that I just I thought were on the bottom of the list. I mean, you might walk away pretty
But
disappointed.
you got the shows too, Bill and Ted's, which I think is fun. Did y'all go back to that again after the first night? No.
We didn't.
One
we
thing
didn't
to
get a
note-
chance. We didn't get a chance to see Bill and Ted's. How was it this year?
So we saw it on team member preview night. I don't know if Craig wants to talk about it.
That's what I was going to say in general. We went on team member preview night. With that, we did not have the chance to have Express. So we waited in lines for the 3 things that we did, as well as Bill and Ted. So we actually had firsthand experience of waiting in lines. So whenever we talk about the houses and if it was worth it or not, at least those 3 that night, that's what we're.
What did you think of Bill and Ted's this year?
Bill and Ted's was better than last year's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it better than last year's, but it's always a staple. It's funny. There's going to be funny parts
It's
regardless.
funny.
there were
And
highs and lows.
It's so right
there
on
was,
the edge.
There was one year they were talking about not doing it anymore, and people flipped out. I mean, that's like the highlight of Halloween
no,
Horror
it's so
Nights.
stupid funny. I
It
mean,
pokes
is.
fun at pop culture, and you
and it's
get it.
right. It's something that was just on TV or something
all
you
very
just saw.
current.
Yeah.
You know, Miley Cyrus.
Only thing I didn't
twerking
like, and maybe it's because I'm old, is when you're waiting for the show.
They show America's Funniest Home Videos or something along
They show
those
something
lines.
of people getting hurt doing stupid things.
And so I'm cracking up. We've had a couple
he's
beers.
sitting there cracking up, and I'm going, and I text him like, "Is this people are hurting themselves?"
Your exact text was, "So we're laughing at people getting hurt."
And he said, "The beer helps."
Well, that's the other thing to keep in mind with Halloween Horror Nights. There's a bar in every corner. Every time you turn around, there's another bar. However, these are bars that have a lot of pre-mixed drinks, beers, things like that. If you want an actual bar, you have to go over to Finnegan's. Finnegan's is open, and that's
Yeah.
a full bar, and it's packed.
Yeah.
It's packed.
And there's food everywhere too. Usually, where there's a little freestanding bar,
Yes,
there's always interesting food too.
And luckily they didn't like jack up the prices or anything. You know, it's all your standard prices for Universal.
Well, the price is already jacked up. It's a theme park, but yeah.
I do want to mention, like Sean and I had a chance to go through all the houses. I just want to talk about the top 3 that I found the best. If you have a chance to go and you can only do 3, my opinion, do definitely La Llorona. That's the one with the mom who drowned her kids. Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was great.
Did anybody ever see the Merman?
Yes,
was
he
in
was there on Friday.
Was he there on Wednesday? I just didn't see him.
No, he
or-
wasn't there on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, A Cabin in the Woods, and also An American Werewolf in London. The werewolf in this is amazing. It's a puppet,
Yeah.
but it looks so real, and it comes really close to you.
Those are absolutely my favorite 3 too. If I had to add a 4th, it would be Evil Dead. Just because it's so creepy. You're in the woods. You're walking through this cabin, and there's a thousand scary
Of the
things.
4 they mentioned, we only got to do one of those.
Yeah,
So, Sean,
Yeah.
you've this was your first year.
this was my first year. Yeah,
Why hadn't you gone in the past?
I was scared. Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
But you're okay now.
I
You like-
absolutely love it. I'm kind of like a mix between being horrified but being so interested in all the details. So when I walk through the house or the maze, I can't help but look around at everything. And even though I see 5 people ahead, a girl in a scary black wig pop out and scare someone, and I know she's there, when I get to it and she jumps out, I still freak. But it's, yeah.
See,
That's what's
I had a similar experience. This was my first time too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and like Sean, I was scared to death to do this before. Me and Pete have been talking back and forth, like, okay, you have to go this year. I'm like, no, I don't want. Turns out, apparently, I'm not so easily scared because not one thing surprised me. But like he was saying, the details in the theming, that's what I take away from this. And it's almost like bungee jumping or skydiving. You know, you're all scared to do it, and then once you do it, you want to keep doing it again and again.
Now, Sean, this was also your first time at Universal.
No,
No, it wasn't.
no. I mean, I just started going probably a couple months ago.
Okay.
I went for Disapalooza, but that was strictly Harry Potter.
Right.
And then after that, we went to Springfield for the opening of that.
So, what do you think as a first timer with Halloween Horror Nights? Would you go back again if you didn't have to cover it?
Absolutely. I actually want to get one of the passes where I can go back.
Okay.
Because if I go in with the mindset where I'm only going to do 1 or 2 or 3 houses a night, but it's kind of a party atmosphere. You drink and you have fun. Yeah. It's fun getting scared, and I don't know. It's a nice event.
It's fun watching other people get scared too.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
It is.
I'm too busy trying not to pee my pants.
So, does anybody feel they wouldn't go back? No?
I want to know why Kathy doesn't go. You don't like being
You've
scared?
been before, Kathy. I remember being with you.
Corey
Yeah.
took me through.
You don't like it?
And I went with Will, too. He was there
I've
that
been.
year. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
Something
events.
you like?
It's a great event.
It's not so fun as Mickey, or what?
Well,
What do you
first of all, because it's past my bedtime.
Oh, okay.
And no, I guess, I had a good time that time we went. It just was something, I don't know, it's not like on my
It's
list.
on your top list. I look
Yeah.
forward to it every year. I look forward to the not being able to talk the next day because I've screamed so much.
Well, I certainly had a great time. And like I said, I think some of it's starting to feel a little recycled to me, but it wasn't anything that really took away from the overall experience.
I think they're trying to freshen it up by making it more about current movies, and then they take some older ones in. But whenever a movie
I was going to
just
say, An
comes
American
out,
Werewolf in London is not a current
yeah,
movie.
but Evil Dead, Cabin in the Woods, something else. I don't. But anyways, they're trying to add in all these new movies that are coming out, make the houses a little more fresh. They're also trying to take some from Hollywood, bring them over here, and then do vice versa to make it a little more interesting. I think it's still totally relevant. And the one thing I'm really excited to do is Rocky Horror Tribute that they actually brought back this year. I'm a huge fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard that the show's great. And the first night it was a little weak, but now everyone's starting to get into it, and they're doing like the callbacks the same way if you saw the Midnight Movie. So I can't wait to go see that.
Cool. All right. Well, that is going to do it for our discussion on Halloween Horror Nights. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back with you again next time with another edition of It Is Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone, and remember, stay out of the damn lakes.